I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. I'm assuming we have no one for public comment. And that brings us to the agenda items. Item 3, employment of the assistant superintendent. I have any discussion? If no discussion,
So you. Motion made by Dana, seconded. But you.
Dana motion, you second.
But you can second.
No.
Me too.
All right, I will.
All right, two motions.
We both did it at the same time, but he's a gentleman.
Let's give it
Okay.
to Burns.
All right.
And second,
All third. Well, Dana made the motion. so-
Dana made the motion and I seconded
Okay.
and we all,
Snyder makes the motion
yes.
and Burns second.
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Davis, I hope your career as assistant superintendent goes smoother than that vote.
Me too.
We keep an eye on
It was
things, though.
unanimous. It's going smoothly.
Yes, we're smooth when we get, after we get all our info intake.
Well, I think this board would say to you, we appreciate your willingness to serve in this capacity.
Yes, I do.
And we know that you and Mr. Barnett are going to make a good team to move this county forward. And so thank you for accepting the position.
I appreciate, you all, putting your trust in me to do so. And, I pledge to each of you that I will give it everything I have. So move this county, keep this county going in the right direction.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Brings us to item 4, administrative. Any discussion? Contract for assistant superintendent. No discussion. I'll ask for a motion.
I make that motion.
We don't have a motion written on there,
No,
but
but we'll just put our name.
Burns makes the motion
Check. See if you pay attention.
and a second.
I'll second that.
To Story seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we're actually gonna pay you now.
Excellent.
Doing that job.
Definitely appreciate it.
You were gonna take it for free until we passed that.
He's gonna do a few little weeks of free.
Okay, brings us to personnel section, item 5. Any discussion?
Now, we are indeed going to cancel the posting number and the update for the central office director of personnel.
Yes, Mr.
Yes.
Barnett can speak
Yes.
to this, but basically it's changing the qualifications for the position.
Okay, so it will come back again as a position or?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, Miss Bird, when she put out the initial notice, she said the word abolish and it should have just been canceled. As we're not abolishing anything. What happened is we had 2 applicants. And when we started looking at it and the rest of the postings in the same manner, it should have said in there, or master's degree in administration or administrative certificate. And it did not, which narrowed the pool substantially. So we just ended up with a couple of applicants. I think that we can broaden our pool and have a little better selection. And Don and I can sit down and actually vet these folks. And because that personnel position is one that's going to have to be
very important.
We need
Yes.
to expedite that if it's all possible.
Hopefully, that'll be posted tomorrow.
Okay,
Yeah, I wanted to wait till after the meeting tonight
Yeah,
before we throw it up there.
yeah, so we can know what happened. Thank you.
Starting in July, all postings go on the new front line, which is the statewide posting system. So this will be our first one going out. And so,
We might have more than 2, probably.
yeah,
Yeah, because a lot of people will see this.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the personnel section.
I'll make that motion.
Burns,
Second.
Wilson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Bring us to comments and concerns. Anyone have any at this point?
Just have a couple of discussion items. Like to possibly call for a recall soon. We have two positions that Ms. Erling, the one Ms. Erling vacated is curriculum and assessment. And the one that Mr. Davis is actually vacating, which would be attendance, textbooks, and ALC and homeschool. What we've done with those, Don and I sat down and looked at them, and the way they were currently configured didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because Don's job that he's leaving did a lot with technology, did a lot with Weavis, the technology, data entry, test scores for homeschool children, everything to do with technology. But technology wasn't part of that position. So I took technology off the curriculum and assessment piece, added it to that position. And oddly enough, textbooks were on his job. So instead of textbooks being on curriculum, they were on his job. So I moved textbooks over to curriculum.
Mhm.
So those two items there, whether or not we have to come back as a group and vote to create those job descriptions or approve those job descriptions. to what they
Before
are
we post them.
before we post them. So if we can do that, the sooner the better. It'll take 2 minutes.
Yep.
We can get the postings out to you in the next, probably by Monday. Have the completed posting to you.
And we've already,
Job description, so you see what it looks like.
we've already updated the job description.
So we just need to officially accept
You need
it.
to
Abolish the other ones and
positions
accept these two.
and
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Okay. And then, give you a little update, what you have in a packet there is a gray folder. On one side of that folder is the process of closing the school by legislative rule. And on the other side is actually an example of how one school did in Kanawha County. So that there's a little bit of a, something to go with what you're seeing there.
Mhm.
So those are the two examples there. I had Robin put that together for you this morning. Give you a couple I'll try to send you updates as possible when, like today, I sent you an email out. I had Amy, sorry, that's usually here. She sent me the quote this morning for the fire suppression system. Fire marshal says that's not a good idea. He said that even with fire suppression, you still have to have them updated every 2 years. You have to have them inspected. He said, but you can use a commercial air fryer and not have to change anything.
And not have to put the
Not
system
have to put
in.
the system in.
Okay.
Can you make a funnel cake with an air fryer? Because that's what they want it for. is what it is.
That's what the ones I researched today, because I did a little bit of research on them today. There are a couple out there and they're pricey. They're, $4,000. But it says you can do everything with that you can do with the deep fryer.
That's cheaper than a subscription.
Sort of,
But it is.
Yeah.
yes, by.
Yeah, and I was gonna have to get bids on that because it come in at $56.90.
Yeah,
Suppression system.
Thousands.
And then it's about $300 a year, twice a year to have it inspected.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So,
I'll share a story about funnel cakes. When I was at Duval, you had a line backed up that the band ran the concession stand. And they made funnel cakes and they were wonderful. But it took about 3 minutes to do one funnel cake. And in the meantime, these people standing in line would walk away because they weren't going to wait 3 minutes for a funnel cake. And I kept after the band boosters. You guys are losing money when these people walk away. You got to scrap that funnel cake. Well, it was their prize. So they didn't do it. They kept it. So I got one of these Pepsi trucks. They're little trailers and sold pizza and Pepsi on the other end of the field for the football boosters. I thought it was a World War III. It was unreal. But they managed to only assign one person for funnel cakes. And they changed their whole routine after that. So, if the football boosters are doing the funnel cakes, they may want to look and see whether that's the optimum thing they should be serving. Most kids, if they've got $3 in their hand, they'll spend it on something. It doesn't matter what it is.
I'm not allowed to run concession stand for Tammy anymore for volleyball because this little tiny blonde girl comes up. She's about this tall, ponytails. She told me she wanted some Ritos. So I told her she'd have all the Ritos she wanted. So I'm not allowed to run concession stand.
Extra career.
That's right.
Oh, well,
So.
we trust you all are going to look into that and work with Amy to get that taken
Yes.
care of to their satisfaction.
Mr. Davis and I met today and Mr. Gaines with David Nelson from PATH. And at this point, five of our social workers have committed to them. One of them is teetering with the idea. And we were pleasantly surprised because we didn't have to do anything. He's already contacted them, had them in, got their paperwork, interviewed them.
Interviewed them.
They're ready to go.
Now, how many does that lack?
That lacks three.
Three?
One of them, I think, is applying actually for a school counseling job.
Okay,
And two of them have gone to other employment, but they
Okay.
still want to post the position.
yeah, they
But
may want to come back now that
they
they've done
may,
it.
they very well, because the salary is substantially more than they were making
Yeah.
here. They started out at the low end 49, high end 58. So that's what he had there. And then they're looking at he's gotten a grant that they're gonna open up what used to be what was it, Donald, there in West Hamilton Plaza?
They were just gonna open up an office where they could do.
Yeah, they're gonna do tutoring
Oh,
over
okay.
there. At no charge to Lincoln County
If
students.
you were enrolled in a Lincoln County school.
Who's manning that?
He is getting the grad students from Marshall to man it. So this was a good partnership with the.
Did he say he's on a timeline?
He's waiting for the grant to come back, possibly
Oh,
August.
that
Yeah.
would be great.
It was where the dialysis center was over
Yeah.
there. That's where they're gonna open it up. And then they're looking at, he said, moving down the road, that they're looking at opening another one at Harts, in the Harts area.
That would
For
be
tutoring.
great. Great. And this is K through 12. Wonderful.
Yep.
You need to probably maybe contact the newspaper after we get it all settled, let them do a little article so all the people, in the county would know that's available.
That would be really good. Be really good. Special call, would it be all right with you all to set a special call up for Tuesday, the 11th? That gives us 2 days. Robin, is that too soon?
11th,
Yeah.
that's Monday?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Get out
of
tomorrow.
next,
Got out
Yeah,
tomorrow.
if we get out tomorrow.
Get out tomorrow.
We can do it by teams if it's not convenient for everybody, send everybody teams invite,
You'll be out there?
Daytime, evening, how we do it.
whichever's easiest for you all. I'll do whatever we need to, just to get, so we can get those posted.
Tuesday night's good, I guess, for all of us, sort of keep it clear.
I'm out of town, the back home.
He's gonna
Yeah,
call it.
the evening would be better.
Okay.
Yeah, the evening is better for me too.
You know, we've only actually got 2 people on this board that works anymore, so. So Jeremy and Jody,
I'll be in San Antonio on business, but,
But you'll call us, won't you, Dee?
if I can,
If you can.
I'm
But when will you be back there? Like in a few days from Tuesday?
Thursday
Well,
evening.
we better do it Tuesday.
it's only about 4 hours to take in a Texas Rangers game from there.
Yeah.
I think it's 4 hours one way.
You going to the basement of the Alamo and get Pee Wee Herman's bike?
Yeah, I don't know, I've only actually got 2 free evenings out of the 4. They've got my evening playing too, so we'll
Well,
see.
you can do the bike one night and the football game.
Okay. So let's do it for Tuesday evening at 7 a.m. or 7 p.m.
Okay. Well, I could come.
Is that all right?
And we'll have those job descriptions out to you, sometime tomorrow.
Okay.
For you to peruse. Don and I went over to the high school to talk to some seniors that are in summer school. We got to talk to one, but there were phone calls made today. There are 14 that could potentially graduate at the end of summer school. So phone calls were made to the others, and I told Don, we're planning, I want to do a graduation ceremony for those
Yeah.
students if they make it through at the high school.
Yes.
And just like the other kids, to give them an opportunity to have a graduation ceremony.
Are these 5th-year students?
They could be 4th year, they didn't
Fourth year.
charge the credits.
Yeah, they might not have gotten
They
English or
just
something.
have credit recovery work to do.
Okay, one of the problems of getting them early, if we're talking about that, is that we'll lose the funding come October for those people. But if they're.
But what
if they're
outweighs,
fifth-year
yeah,
Students, they are
Yeah.
4 years plus, then I
A few
think
of
that may be
A
great.
few of them may not come back.
Yeah.
yeah, if we don't do
Yeah,
it,
I'm pretty sure a few of them won't come back, because I've talked to them.
and then go through life without a high
Let's
school.
make the alternate leave instead of,
We're in the business of graduating kids. That's what we're gonna
Yes,
do.
sir.
And if we get them graduated by October, they count in this year's cohort for us, so we don't get dinged.
We
with
don't get,
graduation rate.
yeah, we don't get minus.
But I thought, I just think that, those kids have the gumption to show up, put the time in the summer and get the
And,
diploma, and we need
Yes, that we need to honor them. Yeah,
to give them a ceremony.
yeah, I think so too.
Sounds good.
That'd be great.
And
Yeah,
then
you're on part of that. That's, good stuff.
Yeah, it is.
one of the other things that we're doing too, Don's gotten a list of all those students who are homeschooled, and we're going to peruse through that list. And I think that you said there were 300, over 300 of them.
Well, some of them I got, letters of completion
Yeah.
on.
Okay,
So we're gonna, it's probably about 340.
so we're going to,
That is.
we're going to send personal invitations to those students to come back to school or come and meet with us and talk to us about what we have to offer. And, there's 340 times $7,000. Not to mention the fact that they can come back and, if we can get 25 of them back, that's a great.
You're not just
Yeah.
kidding.
But we're gonna try to get them to come back and just talk about new leadership and how there will be other opportunities for them down the road. It's hard to compete with that Hope Scholarship, but we're gonna give it the old college try, to say.
Yeah, the first 2 years of the Hope Scholarship really didn't affect us. We just lost a few incoming kindergartners. But this year, we're getting second graders, middle schoolers who have applied and have received it. So it's
Yep.
gonna be somewhere between whether they get approved or not for the Hope Scholarship. We're probably gonna lose 10 to 25 kids, depending on if they got their application in on time, did everything correctly, and got approved.
We got an email the other day that they were approved. We had 4 from one family.
Yes.
That, and what's it, $6,200 a pop, I think that they get.
Well, I hope they get 42
Get
from
40.
the state. So that they can use, it goes into an educational savings account where they can go in. There's vendors that they can order from, and the money, they never see the money. It pulls. If they're gonna pay for Penn Foster High School.
Yeah.
And, it just. They're in there, say that we wanna pay this tuition to Penn Foster, and it just pulls out of that $4,200. They can go buy them a laptop or
Or
an
whatever
iPad.
they need.
Yes,
Yeah.
they can just order it right through their educational savings account and order an iPad with that $4,200, whatever, and just teach them at home
And
if they choose.
one of the last things we're looking at, or not the last things, one of the things last on our list this week that we're looking at is the ALC. I don't like the configuration of it. I mean, if I'm a kid that's kind of teetering on the edge of being pardon the expression, a monkey, and I think, well, if I do one more thing, I only have to go to school 4 days a week.
Yes,
Yeah, I got an
Yes.
issue with that.
and
So-
what they think.
We're looking at an option to that, and it may come down to us, purchasing a planning period from somebody that's here, or maybe at Hamlin Pre-K8 to go in and cover that planning period. Or the other option, I thought, if we get to 15 students, we have to hire two teachers. Okay, that's in policy. If we go ahead and start the year with 2, and we drop below 15, that second person becomes a floating substitute.
Or,
So that we're gonna have to use them anyway.
yeah, have to use them anyway.
And right now, we're looking at starting this year from
With
expulsion. You all know, from expulsions.
Yes,
We're gonna probably start the year with about 16 kids.
I figured it would be that.
So if we have
Or
2,
more.
and we drop below 15, or if we have 2 anyway, one of them can cover, the other one's planning and vice versa. And if we drop below 2, then that second person becomes a substitute that we can use them somewhere else. So that we're paying them anyway. So might as well use them to where we can get, the most bang for our buck.
Now, when would they know? The morning of when we hit the substitute? Somebody would call.
Well, I just, we'll know within, a few days or not, whether we're gonna have, below
That many
15.
kids, yeah,
And when we post a position, the second position, that'll be in that position.
in that position
And it has-
description.
Yeah, so they know what to be expected.
Yes,
I can't give you an exact number because some of those 14 seniors who are in summer school, they're ALC kids, and if they graduate, then
Then we
obviously
won't see
they
them.
won't come back.
that's right.
Just food for thought, just trying to kick it around a couple of different ideas to make it more beneficial to the students. And, more of a deterrent, as I don't want to go over there. You know, because right now I don't see a downside if I'm that ruffian, you know.
I agree.
So,
Speaking to ALC, something, and I know it's state law that we have to provide transportation for students, I understand that. But I'd like to, for you to at least think about or look at other routes of getting them to ALC. Because currently they're riding the same school bus with,
Yeah, that's, yeah, we've shut our eyes and looked at that, but that's certainly true.
yeah,
Rode the same bus that they.
That the regular kids do, yes.
and at least,
They're so bad they can't be in a regular classroom.
They're probably
But they can ride
misbehaving
the
on the
regular
school
bus.
buses.
And,
and at least from several of the instances that I can remember, some of it happened on the school bus, so.
Yeah. Just one other thing to add to what you all are talking administratively here. I ask you not to forget those eighth graders at Hearts. We need to encourage those people to come over, not just the eighth graders, but I don't know that you'd have access to the other students that's already been at Chapmanville, but if we could just get 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of those kids to come here every year.
Don and I were talking about that today too. I don't think it'll cost us an absorbent amount of money, but I would like to do for all of our eighth graders, but that's, with hearts in mind, like to do a little packet for them with some, Panther gear to take to them and invite them down, take it up there and invite them down personally.
Have a field trip down to the high school and go through
They
it.
did bring him in this year.
Bring them down from Harts too.
I'm wondering, you keep saying the word bring, and it's an hour away. Would it be possible with the technology that we have available, with Armstrong closed circuit television? And from what I understand, looking at the size of Hearts, it's a pretty good sized building. Would it be possible to have a couple rooms and have high school added to that and have a virtual classroom? And you wouldn't need a certified teacher. You would just need a designated instructor, not an instructor, a designated, I don't know what you call it. Proxy, but you could actually stream the classes from the high school. And you could offer the core curriculum classes, closed circuit television.
Well, if you stream them from high
And-
school, you'd probably have somebody certified doing the
Well, you
teaching.
would,
Yeah.
It'd be just like them
It'd be
going
just,
to
that's
the high
right,
school.
except it would be
And
virtual.
if they wanted to be involved in after school curricular activities, they'd still have the option.
They would have the eligibility, wouldn't they?
And the eligibility
Yeah.
as well. And you may just get people who are driving somewhere else to come to Lincoln County who are close
Doing
to
a
our
virtual.
border, who would rather have a virtual
And
program.
be involved in the activities at
That's
the high
exactly
school.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's just another option, I think. that
well,
we
it's
can
something to
look at.
think about for sure.
By the time I was in, by the time I was in 11th grade, I only had like 2 core classes left that I had to take. And I think senior, I had English, that was it. I had one English class, senior. So I took my English class and then I was in DECA, so I went to work. One English class, went to work. So if we just had core classes as an offering, that they have to have, and then we could think about online electives and things like that. It's just a possibility. We could have a lot of
Well,
kids.
we could
Yeah.
get some students we're losing
I
maybe.
keep saying, it's all about better mousetraps, so, it's worth taking a look at. Do we still have co-op the way it used to be? We don't have that program anymore.
I don't think so.
Do we have what you call it, DECO or whatever? Do we have
That's the same thing.
anything where seniors can get out and go to work half a day?
The president will give special permission. When I was there, so we did give special permission.
They don't get credit for that.
Hardship, it's right, hardship.
Yeah,
but you need to
they
work.
need to
Yeah.
work, the ones that have.
Which we actually have class
We try to
training,
give them credit
yeah.
for going out and working and
Well, if they're a CTE student and they're working in field, they get CTE credit.
It's workplace work.
Okay,
Like, for example, if, I know that there for a while, Waste Management was taking every welding student I had that they could get out there to repair dumpsters.
We
And,
need to make
you know,
sure
you don't have to
that
have
they
big
know
wells.
that
They
at the
have-
high
that's
school.
the part.
Okay.
But that's something to look into.
want to compliment Mr. Lucas. It looks good to drive by that ball field over there and see that turf laying all rolled up over there, ready to go. I guess they're gonna put it down soon.
I think they're gonna start on some of it tomorrow, and I'd say by the end of next week, the majority of it will probably be down.
Well, you want to talk a little bit about the scoreboard?
Yeah, I can tell you kind of what I'm working on. I don't have a lot of time to devote to it, but.
Let's turn it 25.
Okay, so I checked on. Where's the button at? I see it. Can you guys hear me? So. Long story short, scoreboard wasn't in the original package. We thought it was. So I've been scrambling around trying to figure out how to get a board. The site contractor over there said that Herbert Hoover had a board that they weren't going to use sitting on the site. They got a donation for a larger board, and we were trying to figure out if we had to purchase it from Kanawha County, if we wanted to try to get it, or from Daktronics, the company specifically. Turns out we have to purchase it from Daktronics. In the meantime, I got a quote from Varsity Scoreboards, which has done some of the smaller boards, I think, over at the Lions Club and some other places. And it was a really good price. It was a beautiful board. They said they could get it installed by 8:15, which would be pretty much in time for football. But they wasn't for sure. So obviously we were thinking about trying to get that board that could be down here in an hour and a half from Herbert Hoover. But the installation and the add-ons were a little more expensive than I like to see. They were charging about 20 grand more to install as opposed to the quote I got from Varsity. So what I'm trying to do right now, and I'd like to wrap this up maybe tomorrow evening or Monday at the latest, because I got to make a decision. I've talked to the site contractor that was over there, basically what it will entail. So the scoreboard mounts to 3 I-beams, right? They're 30-foot I-beams, they're 10 feet in the ground, you got 10 feet of exposure, and then you got the board on the top third. So you dig the holes, right? You fill them with concrete, you set the I-beam so they're level, and then the board just mounts in 2 pieces with brackets, and it's wireless. So there's not a lot of wiring. I talked to Brian Vance today at Armstrong. They've got the equipment to drill the holes. They've got the trucks to set the beams. They can basically install the board. So he's looking at the specs to see, kind of what they can do. Some of you have mentioned some other people, but I gotta have something concrete. I've either got to order a scoreboard, install and everything together. I've got to get a commitment from somebody in the community to install it. I don't have week and a half to try to figure that out. The site contractor that's over there said if Armstrong dug the holes, he could get the concrete put in, he could set the poles, I-beams, and he could brace them, till the concrete dries at a minimal cost. So that's kind of where I'm at on the scoreboard. If you guys have any ideas, I don't think it's a pretty large board. It's about 1,300 pounds. It's 30 by 8.
It's cost of.
The board itself, the one I'm talking about from Herbert Hoover, is 18,700.
Of course.
It's 24,000, 25, but it has a little more. It's got like a truss at the top, like where you could later put, Panthers or a Panther head or something up there.
And it's brand new.
The Daktronics quote, they both would be
Oh,
brand
they're
new.
brand new?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing that the difference is Daktronics, like, for example, there's some add-ons, which like the sponsor logos on the bottom would be an add-on, and then the truss at the top would be an add-on. So overall, it's about 30 to 40 grand more expensive if you did all the add-ons with Daktronics compared to the quote from Varsity. But if you can get the install done at a minimum free or at a minimal cost, then, at that point, you're saving money.
Would they install either board?
You talking about Armstrong?
Yes.
Or
Yes, good.
he's looking at it this evening, but he basically said that they do a lot of stuff in the community, but I don't want to, sorry, I'm putting him in a public meeting, but he's trying to see if that's an option. We don't know if they can commit to that or not, but,
Maybe they contact the other people. That can.
I don't really know anybody else with the equipment to kind of do it. We could.
I'm talking about money.
Oh, no. It's one of those things you kind of, we're pay to get the install done up front, but it's gonna have space for 2 or 3 large illuminated sponsor panels on the bottom.
Yeah.
Of course, we always try to get Lincoln Primary Care and Armstrong and some of our major partners here in the community.
Well, let me
first
ask you,
crack at those
would they let you make payments, like 3 or 4 year payments or something, or they want all the money?
on the boards.
Yes.
We can pay, we can pay for the boards, but what I would like to do is get some of that money back via sponsorship, for those panels, those large panels on the board. And that could be you guys, other people in the community. We can just kind of say, hey, here's what we need to kind of fund the board. This is what it would cost to get those
So
big
you're only
panels.
gonna need about 18,000.
Just the board, just the board.
It's cheap.
So the board's 18,700. So I mean, I can fill you guys in with an email, maybe tomorrow evening, and then Monday, we're kind of gonna have to decide, what we want to do. The large cost is the install. I'm not sure about, I gotta follow up to see if the brackets and the I-beams are included in the scoreboard price or the install price. I don't know where those fall, but the I-beams, they're a little bit expensive, but it's minimal compared to, we could get them probably from, I've reached out to somebody in Civil West Virginia to try to get some down there. But that's where we're at. I won't talk all night,
But
but
also, I'm only speaking for myself here. We've got field over there is well underway, and I haven't done a thing in relation to it. You and the two of you that's on the committee and others have got us that far.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna trust you all to get us that far on the scoreboard. If Mr. Barnett is satisfied with it, there's no need to ask me, because I don't know what's going on.
well, we're gonna,
Dana's on the committee, Jeremy's on the committee. Mr. Barnett's got his fingers in the pie here. You're steering the project, so whatever you all come up with, I think I'd be happy with it.
that's what we're gonna do. If you guys have any ideas on people that can maybe help on an install, let me know.
Thank you.
All right, attendance. Attendance incentive. We have wrestled with this like dusty roads. I sit here and I still don't know that I have the right figures to make any decisions. But, I'd like to throw a possibility, an avenue out here for the board to work at, and that's to give Mr. Barnett, Superintendent Barnett, and Mr. Lucas some guidance here and say, we would like to do an attendance incentive with the sole purpose of reducing absenteeism. That's the purpose.
And having
The
teachers in the classroom.
the state gives teachers a modest incentive for, and I don't know what the guidelines on that are. It worries me that without being 100% sure of the figures, for me to propose anything at this point, but I would like to just say this, and you all chip in, add in, whatever, reject it, but I think for this year, we focus only on service personnel. And the object of that is to keep bus drivers on the job. I saw so many routes last year that were doubled up and didn't run and whatever because we didn't have people on the job. I would like to propose to you and board and Mr. Lucas that we look at only service personnel and we break it up into increments, that we do it by semester. And I'm a big proponent of the monthly incentive, but I don't think this amount of money is going to be to the fact that we can do it on a monthly basis. But I would like to propose that we do service personnel only for those who miss 0 days in the
Bus drivers
semester.
only.
What?
Bus drivers only or service persons?
Service person,
Okay,
cooks, custodians,
Everybody did, okay.
secretaries,
well, I
Whoever.
wanted to make sure that
that,
we were looking at all then.
that we give them, for 0 absences in a semester, that we propose $1,000 for them. 2 semesters, that could be a $2,000 raise at the end of the year. And they can get paid at the end of 1 semester. If they miss from 0.5 to 2 days, that amount of money drops down to $600 a semester. So they could possibly get $1,200 if they miss no more than 2 days a semester. You all, when you're working with it, you may have different configurations. I don't feel real comfortable with my figures, but that's the best that I can come up with. That amounts to service personnel being able to get a $2,000 raise if they miss no days for the whole year. They get $1,000 per semester,
Mhm.
maximum. So if they miss 3 days 1 semester, it doesn't preclude they can't get it for the second semester.
Now, David, are we thinking that then if this is successful, this first time that we tried, that we would have another classification of employees the next year that would be on there?
Yes,
Yes,
the reason that I don't throw professional people into this
First.
right now
yeah,
is that so many people and there's so many unknowns in it. I want to see if this has an effect on service personnel.
first,
Called a control group.
yeah,
Service personnel are the least paid in the system.
yes, they are,
This becomes a big incentive to, and
right,
you know, if they get 2,000 in many cases, this is about a 10%
yes, it
increase
is.
in their salary.
But then we could always make this proposal that we're doing, say that this is our try, we're gonna try this, see if it works. Then it will move to other classifications if it's successful.
Yes,
And
and
I think we ought to do that.
I would like this policy as it's written up by you all. Now, what I'm just proposing is not what I necessarily want you to put in the policy. I'm just proposing this. I want you to think in these terms, though. We have a caveat
Could we
in
go to
here.
executive
is
session?
that-
Discuss it.
We can drop this policy anytime we see that it's not achieving the results
Yes,
that we desire, or it becomes a financial threat to us.
Make a
Yeah.
motion that we go into executive session, discuss it. Deeper.
I second that.
Okay, yeah, we're discussing personnel. We can do that.
yeah, we can,
Because I think we're going to mention some names probably.
yeah.
I have a motion and a second to go into executive session.